My name is John, and today we're going to take a closer look at another classic Nintendo Power magazine. This is March-April of 1990. As you can see, the feature is Super Mario Bros. 3, one of my favorite games for the NES. So let's take a closer look at this magazine. It's been a long time since I've actually opened this thing up, so it's going to be a lot of fun going through it with you guys. So let's take a closer look. Here it is. This is Nintendo Power, March-April 1990. This is kind of a throwback to the very first Nintendo Power they did. If you guys remember in that review, the cover, the main feature game was Super Mario Bros. 2. They had kind of the claymation figures, did the same thing with this one, kind of similar to that. Also coverage is Starwarsnut77-Star Wars, Boy and His Blob, Pinbot, and Allgengamers. I'm not sure quite how you pronounce that. Big bonus, 36-page Nintendo Pack Source Game Directory. The source for Nintendo players straight from the pros is what the slogan was back then. Retail for $3.50, that's US dollars, and in Canada was $1 more for $4.50. On the back, you just got guaranteed official Nintendo seal of quality, which unfortunately they don't really do much anymore. Here's the opening. You open it up and you get this. You can subscribe. Let's see, a year. You can actually buy backlogs as well for $4.50, and that's pretty cool. 6 issues. You get, well, every other year, basically what happened was they would release a magazine, they released a strategy guide. So I think you'd end up getting something every year, or every month rather. Here's a table of contents. Mario Bros. 3, you got Silent Service, Pinbot, Boy and His Blob, as I mentioned, Wrath of the Black Manta. You got special features, CES reports, Game Boy. This is a pretty new system for when this was released. Dragon Warrior, new games, Nintendo Power Awards, 1989 through 96. It's interesting. Okay, Howard and Nestor, Counselor's Corner, classified information, those are all pretty standard. You also previews for Final Fantasy, Codename Viper, Super C. Okay. The pack source, over 300 NES titles. This is the guide, complete listing of power, meter rankings, etc. so forth. Book removal instructions. This is a player's pulse. This is where actually readers can actually write in and send in cheesy photos, family photos, and all that good stuff. Talk about what the games are playing. This is they always profile a particular gamer. This guy is age 14. His accomplishments: I have finished over 36 games, including Bound at Commando and Adventure of Link. Okay. Super Mario Bros. 3. Now this was released also in a time close to when The Wizard was being released. So I remember that was the first time the movie The Wizard was the first time I actually saw Super Mario Bros. 3, and I was just blown away at the graphics. I'm sure you guys have very fond memories of checking this out as well. If you lived in the early 90s, please share your experiences below if you did have fond memories. And talks about different items you can pick up. Rolling hills. I mean, I just love how they paste it together. The detail, the animation, you just don't get this anymore in magazines today. And it's like almost like the Nintendo Power back in the day actually showed you strategies on how to beat the game, whereas in gaming magazines today, like Game Informer, really show previews and kind of rate the game, but they don't necessarily show you how to play the game. They've really changed over the years. Silent Service, it looks like a submarine game for the Nintendo. I've not played this. This is for the NES. Steel Diver looks pretty sweet for the 3DS, speaking of submarine games for the Nintendo. It looks like one of the better ones. Consumer Electronics Show. So I guess it talks about arcade translations. Let's see, the arcades have always furnished mini hits to Nintendo. Talking about different Super Spy Hunters coming out, Cable, Rally Bike. Talks about different ports from the arcades. Under development. That's interesting. Sequels. This is kind of like, I guess, like the E3. Talks about the Game Boy as well as featured. Look at that. That's awesome. That little display unit for the Game Boy. It's pretty sweet looking. This is Pinbot. It's a classic Midway pinball machine ported to the NES. What's interesting about this game also was it was one of the 3 games available on the Campus Challenge Cart for Nintendo when they had a tournament around different campuses. This was one of 3. The other 2 were Super Mario Bros. 3 and Dr. Mario. So, really fun game. It didn't really translate quite right. Obviously a lot better playing the original, playing 8-bit graphics, but if you like pinball machines, definitely check it out. 720, speaking of arcade ports, it's another arcade ported to the NES. Really fun game, actually. This is like the pre-Tony Hawk, so to speak. The Boy and His Blob. Side scroller. Talks about different hidden items you can pick up. Here is Nestor's Howard and Nestor. This is a comic book. Every issue did have a little short comic, couple pages long. And Nestor was eventually let go as far as Nintendo's mascots go, or characters. I think Nestor's Bowling was available for the Virtual Boy. He's one of the few games he actually was in. Black Manta. Can't say I've played this game. Looks a lot like Ninja Gaiden. Interesting. Astenix. Shows you different boss battles. Top 30 games for 1990. You got Turtles #1. That's interesting. Mega Man 2, Super Mario Bros. 2, Zelda 2, Dragon Warrior, The Legend of Zelda, Super Mario Bros. 3, Ninja Gaiden, Disney DuckTales, Tecmo Bowl. Here are previews. Final Fantasy Codename Viper Super C. New titles. So finally we're getting some titles here. Final Fantasy. This is game had not been released for the NES. This is, I think, the last game that Square, at the time it wasn't Square Enix back then, but it was Square, and they were losing a lot of money, and didn't expect this game to do very well, so they called it Final Fantasy, and it's been doing really well. It's very similar to kind of Dragon Warrior in a sense, but you got Viper as well. Super C, which is a sequel to Contra. A really fun game, kind of underrated in my opinion. A lot of people like Contra. If you like Contra, definitely check out Super C. Super hard. Looks like a poster here, and this looks like a poster to. Oh well, you got the Dragon Warrior map on the back. But what is this to? I don't quite know. Maybe we'll find out. Here's the Power Pack source. Comprehensive game pack guide for the NES. This is just, you can tear this out, was the whole idea. So it talks about, I guess, different games that are available. So I guess you can, it kind of briefly talks about one sentence or two about each game. I'm not sure what these numbers mean in the middle here. Let's check it out. Here's a key. This is the power meter rating 1 to 5. So this is, they rate it. They give actual screenshot, description of the game. That's pretty cool, kind of short. That's pretty neat how they did that. So I guess these are all Nintendo games up until that point. Rating each game. They break it into different categories, different genres. Light gun, education, brain, adventure. Wow, that's really neat. I'm going to have to go through this a little bit more in detail later on. Role-playing games, power pad games, action games. What do the power pad games get rating-wise? Street Cop, not very good. I haven't seen any 5s. Dance Aerobics got pretty high scores. I haven't seen any 5s here. A lot of 4.5s. Action. Castlevania got some 4.5s. So you guys get the idea. And then it breaks it down alphabetical here so you can look it up and see what page it's on. That's really neat. Here's the Dragon Warrior, other part of the map. Oh, Super C. It's a Super C. That's cool. Speaking of Dragon Warrior, Text Adventure. This is a good issue to have if you like RPGs, classic RPGs. Talks about the different enemies. Tells you where to go. That's pretty neat. Game Boy. That's pretty cool. Nemesis is a fun, kind of like an R-type game. Little bowing. I remember picking up Game Boy on launch date. The new games are now available. Bases Loaded 2. Baseball Simulator 1000. Not quite sure what that is. Looks like some codes I written down way back in the day. Rescue. Zaxxas. I'm not quite sure how you pronounce that game right there. Counselor's Corner. Shows you, well, how do I get the key to the upper levels of Knockmere Castle. Now the thing is, I guess this is where most commonly asked questions for any particular game, and they kind of help answer it, which is neat. At the time, you can call in like a 1-900 number and ask some questions. Dragon Warrior, Disney's DuckTales, which is classic. Shadowgate. River City Ransom, which I've heard they've announced a sequel for that, which will be fun. This is some secrets. Punch Out, Bad Dudes. Different codes. It shows you there are different codes that enter the same way at play game. End of the game. So you can shows you how to pass forward, get to Mike Tyson, pretty much. Or in this case, I guess it was Mr. Dream. Oh no, it was Mike Tyson. One of the better games for the NES, my personal opinion. You can submit your questions into P.O. Box in Redmond, Washington. I doubt that's still open. Video shorts. Kings of the Beach. 4-player Marvel's X-Men. A little top-down game, kind of interesting, a lot different. Every X-Men game was a little bit different, a lot different gameplay. Win, Lose, or Draw. Remote Control, I totally remember that show. Puss in Boots, probably one of the most bizarre names that you'll find for a game. Achievers, this is where you show your high scores. People can submit it, they put your name in. World's second NES Power Trivia Quiz, so you can answer this quiz. A little information about the Nintendo World Championship. At press time, plans are still being finalized for the Nintendo World Championship 1990. By the time you read this, however, most of the preparations will be well underway. I'm sure that's true. But first, we thought it would be interesting to give it some details on the triathlon game pack that will be used from the NWC contest. Specially designed game pack will run for about 7 minutes and contain a segment of 3 Nintendo games: Super Mario Bros., Rad Racer, and Tetris. Competitors and it tells you pretty much what to do. That's pretty neat. Wow, who would have thought those carts would be so rare now? Get with it. Super NES videos. That's funny they call it Super NES videos because the Super Nintendo was not around at this time, but they go Super videos. You know, you can get the cartoon shows. You get the backpack, Game Boy holder, 4-score Proclaim, 4-player. Celebrity profile. This is chick from Roseanne, right? Pretty funny. Rescue Pack Watch. Look for these future game packs. Rescue Rangers, Chris Dallas, Ninja Gaiden 2, and back issues. You can order those, and that is all she wrote. Nintendo Power Awards 1990. So I guess this is official rules, so you can actually vote. Doesn't give you the. That's kind of weird. I guess in maybe next issue. Oh, here it is. Yeah, here it is. Best graphics and sound. DuckTales, best challenge. Xanadu, best theme fun. Dragon Warrior, best play control. DuckTales. DuckTales is a great game. And let's cut out. You can't see that. Best ending. DuckTales. Best player versus player. Baseball Stars, awesome. Best overall. Dragon Warrior. Interesting. DuckTales is there, but it's not the highest. Mega Man. Cool. And that's it, guys. Thanks for watching. Appreciate it. Take care. See ya.